team within your own league. So, yeah, I think there's a ton of pressure on Kirby, and the question is, will that manifest itself in how he attacks this game, how he game plans, how he adjusts the game plan once the ball gets kicked off. But to me, that's the question. Like, coaches are used to dealing with pressure all the time. But if he lets it impact how he calls the game, then that's where it becomes problematic.
He is Tom Hart with the SEC Network on the Out of Bounds show and the Miller Lite guest line. You've got your finger on the pulse of the SEC. You and the crew traveling around. Of course, SEC Saturday night. Are you buying another storyline that Georgia's that much more talented, considering they both kind of recruit at 1 and 2 up until this year with A&M?
Yeah, I think Georgia is the more talented team overall, but I think Alabama has the better high-end players, right? I mean, best quarterback, Alabama. Best wide receiver, Alabama. You could go a couple more position by positions, but you can't go further than like fourth or fifth. D-line, Georgia, tight end, Georgia. So I feel like maybe the top three guys, especially from a skill position standpoint, are on the Alabama side, and then 4 through 15, or however far down you want to go, all wear Georgia red. So it depends on how you view talent, right? And I think that depth is what has allowed Georgia to have, outside of one game, a dominating season. Specifically, where does that come up tonight? I think probably on the offensive line. Alabama's offensive line, Chris Owens, the right tackle. I'd expect he starts this game. I'd expect he might even play the whole game, but I don't think he'll be 100%. And if Georgia is able to get to Bryce Young, which they couldn't during the SEC championship game, that's the hole in the dam that's trickling a little water right now. And so, you find a way to take advantage of the right side of the Alabama line and try to get to Bryce, and that's what they have to do. He threw the ball 45 times in Atlanta in the SEC championship game, and they didn't sack him once. I mean, that is – if he
incredible.
threw it 20 times and you didn't sack him, you go, wow, yeah, they ran the ball a lot. But he dropped back. He had the ball. He held the ball. Yeah, he does get rid of it quickly. But you've got to – if your strength is a defensive line, which Georgia's is, you've got to find a way to put some pressure on that quarterback, because otherwise, he finds Jameson Williams on screens, on go routes, on post routes, and he just absolutely carved up that Georgia secondary, which, by the way, was the weakness coming into this season. On that defensive side, the corners, and they had to bring in a safety transfer from West Virginia. So that was known. It's just that the front seven, and specifically the front four, were so good throughout the year that nobody was able to take advantage of that.
Tom Hart on the Out of Bounds show. How do you see it with Stetson Bennett the fourth? Do you think is he capable of making, 3 to 4 big plays with his arm tonight so that Georgia can score enough to beat Bama?
Yeah, I said a second ago that Alabama has a better quarterback, and I believe in that. And from pro prospects to future wins to QB rating, or however you want to measure it, he's Bryce Young is a special dude, right? So he's going to put up numbers for years to come, even when he gets to Sundays. That's I think a popular belief. But Stetson Bennett is fine. And not only is he fine, but he's able and willing to take chances and to turn that offense into an explosive offense. I mean, his ability to throw on the run, to identify weaknesses and take off and be a willing runner. He's got an incredibly talented tight end in Brock Bowers. George Pickens was hurt for most of the season, but, man, how long ago was Thanksgiving, right? Doesn't it seem like it was 2 years ago?
Yes. And
that's when he came back and played against Georgia Tech. So it would not surprise me if he's got a little bit more gas in the tank for a national championship game. Yeah, quarterback, while it is an Alabama advantage, I don't think it's a Georgia disadvantage in that regard. I think Stetson, if depending on their play calling, can keep them in this game. In fact, you'll watch Kirby's reaction multiple times where he gets upset with with Stetson, usually because Stetson was taking chances. What I've seen is this smirk from Stetson Bennett when he comes to the sideline, and it's kind of like, yeah, I know I hit on 17, but I got a 4 and I won the hand. All right, so I know what I'm doing. And that'll be a fun kind of side theater to watch for fans at home tonight. Like that interaction between Kirby Smart and Stetson Bennett, he's lived up to his nickname, the mailman. He's delivered, and let me tell you this much, Bo. If Stetson Bennett wins this thing, instant cult hero status.
No doubt.
Not just in Athens, but in the entire state of Georgia and probably all of the SEC. I mean, they haven't won one since 1980. He's a player that a lot of fans, for better or for worse, relate to.
Yes.
And they say, well, yeah.
Because he looks like the rush chairman for ATO. I mean, right?
That's right. And people go, well, shoot, we ran that route when I was, playing at Woodbine Junior High, and I could do that. Well, first of all, no, you can't. But because he's relatable, that will just add to the legendary status if he pulls this thing up. I can't think of another, national championship, world championship, name your sport type key position that has won a title. Like you don't look back at an NBA championship and go, wow, I can relate to LeBron. I'm 6'8" and can run a 4.40. No, and very few people look at that and say, oh yeah, I could relate to that. Tom Brady's just too beautiful for anybody to relate to outside of supermodels. Patrick Mahomes does things and throws the ball in a way that is different. It's in the top 1%. Stetson Bennett just doesn't look like that.
I know, man. The SAE rush chairman could win it all tonight. All right, Tom Hart, I got 30 seconds. Who wins? Who you picking?
I think Alabama wins a close one. We're talking less than 6, and I think it comes down. Obviously, that'd come down to the fourth quarter, and I think Bryce Young has another really big game.
We'll leave it there. Tom Hart, SEC Network, on the Miller Lite guest line. Tom, we appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Tom Hart on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, powered by Bucked Up Energy. That's right. New sponsor on the Out of Bounds Show, and we're super excited to have them. Bucked Up Energy Drink. Back in a sec.